Up on the Rumble. Good morning. Oh wait, my mic is not okay. Hold on. Sorry, I was watching the dev stream for Foxhole, and it got a little later than I expected it to be. There we go. Now I'm on voice activity. So, while I'm getting everything set up, I'm gonna get into the history today, shall we? Where'd my script vanish to? I'm sorry. Good morning, hello, welcome to This Day in History, aka TDH. This show is about interesting and important happenings that occurred on this calendar date throughout the annals of recorded history. I am A.O. Xander, and you, viewer, you. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Today is Tears' Day, aka Tuesday, May 27, 2025. Let's jump into the history today, shall we? Starting us off in 308, Marcellus I began his reign as Catholic Pope, serving until his death in 309. And I actually do have pictures corresponding to things, so I'm going to be doing a lot of alt-tabbing. I don't have a whole bunch of stuff set up here. So, 1096, Count Emechio entered Mainz, where his followers massacred Jewish citizens, killing at least 600 of them. That's not good, but why does this keep happening? I've been asking this, basically every show, why does this keep happening? 1120, Richard III of Capua was anointed as prince 2 weeks before his untimely death. That's not good. So that's a bit of a kick in the head right there. You're elected prince and then you die 2 weeks later. I mean, well, at least you got some time out of it. 5029, 30 Jews of Posing, Hungary, were charged with blood ritual and they were burned at the stake. Well, I mean, here we go. Why does this stuff keep happening? 1644, Battle of Shanghai Pass. Li Zhengjing's army was defeated by combined Ming and Manchu force. And from our other source here, 1644, the Manchu regent Drogon defeated rebel leader Li Zhengjing of the Sun Dynasty at the Battle of Shanghai Pass, allowing the Manchus to enter and conquer the capital city of Beijing. Yikes. We were talking about how, I think it was a couple dates ago, how some guy just led him through the Great Wall. Just, here you go, 1789, Habeas Corpus Act passed in England, strengthening a person's right to challenge unlawful arrest and imprisonment. And that is actually our first image here, Habeas Corpus Act, 1679. What else do we got here? 1692, William Phips, governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony, authorized a special court of oyer and terminer to hear and determine to administer the Salem witch trials. We were talking about this yesterday or the day before. I don't really remember. Things are just turning mushing into one long continuous stream of history in my brain. So, but the first woman executed on charges of being a witch occurred a couple dates ago. Let's see here. 1796, 1703, the city of St. Petersburg, then eventually known as Leningrad, was founded by the Russian Tsar Peter the Great. And we have a picture right here for it. This is Leningrad right here. It's a little small, but that's an artist's rendition of what it looked like. What else do we got here? 1796, James S. McLean was granted a U.S. patent for his improvements to the piano. Okay. 1798, the Pitt-Tierney duel took place on Putney Heath outside London, a bloodless duel between the Prime Minister of Great Britain, William Pitt the Younger, and his political opponent, George Tierney. And once again, here's another picture right here. Let me bring that up. Huzzah! How about thee? Ha, hee, ha, 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 ha. Pantaloons. 1860, Giuseppe Garibaldi began the siege of Palermo, part of the War of Italian Unification. So for those who weren't around during yesterday's show, Giuseppe Garibaldi is credited with unifying Italy. As we all know, Italy got unified under Rome, but then Rome collapsed and all stuff happened, history and whatnot. But then Giuseppe Garibaldi spearheaded the movement to reunify Italy, which obviously he did. If you look at a map of Italy, it's there. So, 1863, U.S. Civil War during the siege of Port Hudson in Louisiana by Union forces began, lasting for 48 days, becoming the longest American military siege. And I wonder if that's on U.S. soil or ever. So. But yeah, during the American Civil War, the first Union infantry assault of the siege of Port Hudson occurred. 1873, Heinrich Schilderman discovered Priam's treasure, a cache of gold and other objects in Hisarlik or Troy in Anatolia. And that was 1873. So I'm trying to, yeah, here it is right here. And yes, we do have a picture for it right here. And these are a couple pieces of the treasure that they discovered. Some kind of like tassel things, some really cool headdress, and a vase that looks like it's seen better days. It's warped all to hell. What else do we got here for today? 1863, we got that one, 1895, British inventor Bert Akers patented the film camera / projector. You know, not surprising that Edison took credit for it and all that stuff, but yeah. 1903, Queen Wilhelmina opened the New Amsterdam Stock Exchange. Beurs van Bergales, designed by influential architect Hendrik Petrus Bellerej. So let's take a look at this piece of architecture here. Beurs van Bergales. Images. Oh, okay. That's a pretty cool looking building for a stock exchange. And it looks a little industrial with all the brickwork. Kind of looks like a factory, or like a factory mixed with a church or something. There's a clock tower right there and a bell tower. And, all sorts of things going on with that structure there. What else do we got here? 1905, during the Russo-Japanese War, the Battle of Tsushima began, resulting in the Japanese fleet destroying the Russian East Sea Fleet. The only decisive clash between modern steel battleships in history. Alright, and we do have a picture of that right here. And you can see there's a ship here just like completely flying out of the water. But yeah, I guess this is like the only example of like these juggernaut boats actually hitting each other. 1910, reform of the Prussian three-class voting system failed. Okay. 1916, groundbreaking began on the Hugh J. Grant Circle, a park in the Bronx. The Bronx! Named for the youngest mayor of New York City, who lived from 1899 through, or I guess who served, no, who lived from 1899 through 1992. Okay. I guess that's his birth and death years right there. 1916, President Woodrow Wilson. Boo! The absolute worst world leader we've ever had in this country. You know, probably not in the world, but, you know, this guy, you know, he's a piece of shit. He addressed the League to Enforce Peace, founded in 1915, and gave public support to the idea of a League of Nations, a predecessor to the United Nations, that are uninvolved in peace. 1917, off of main source here, Pope Benedict XV promulgated the 1917 Code of Canon Law, the first comprehensive codification of Catholic canon law in the legal history of the Catholic Church. All right, and here we go. We do have a picture for it. The Code of Canon Law. It's canonical, you know. 1919, the first transatlantic flight ended. The U.S. Navy flying boat took 11 days. And from our other source here, the NC-4 aircraft arrived in Lisbon after completing the first transatlantic flight. And yes, once again, we do have a photograph of this aircraft. So there you go. Check out that bird. That's the first aircraft to fly over the Atlantic Ocean nonstop. It has 3 engines, it looks like. That's incredible. What else do we got here? 1927, the Japanese military intervened in the Chinese Civil War in Shantung to protect Japanese residents there. That's a little sketchy. You know, you're risking an international incident and getting yourself fully involved in the war, but right here you intervened in the war, so I guess you did get involved, Japan. Not sure. I don't really know fully that history. And we've been talking about this for the past couple of days. 1927 as well, the Ford Motor Company ceased manufacture of the Ford Model T and began to retool plants to make the Ford Model A. And I just unintentionally made an Illuminati symbol right there. 1930, Richard Drew invented masking tape, also known as Scotch tape, a.k.a., as I used to call it as a kid, Scottish tape. But yeah. Well, I guess not Scotch tape. Masking is what's normal household tape? Because I know there's masking tape. I know there's duct tape. No, I know what masking tape is. That's on the tape guns that we use at the shop. So what's normal? Is that just small masking tape, like what you use to you know when you're wrapping Christmas presents or whatever? birthday presents, you know, not everybody celebrates Christmas, but not everybody celebrates birthdays either. But you know what I'm talking about. This, here, there's a picture. 1930, the 1,046 foot or 319 meter Chrysler Building in New York City, the tallest man-made structure at the time, open to the public. Alright, here's an old-timey photograph of that building. That's really cool, dude. Like, the sepia tone really makes it pop. Nice looking building right there. Although I'm more of a fan of the Empire State myself. 1931, the first full-scale wind tunnel for testing airplane at Langley Field in Virginia. We have a photo for that too. And look at the man in the hole. It's you know, to full-scale airplane right there. Test out aerodynamics and whatnot. Which reminds me, like the Loon and I the other day, we were talking about, you know, Mesoamerican stuff and whatnot, and how they took that little airplane toy thing that they found, and they built it at, you know, 1-to-1 scale, full sized, and it flew. So that's wild right there. 1931 as well, Swiss Auguste Piccard and Paul Kiefer made the first flight into the stratosphere by balloon from Augsburg in Germany. And yeah, that's the predominant picture we have in our thumbnail today right here. They set it up in this ball, probably for pressurization, you know, because the air is not as thick as it is down here up there. So it's kind of wild to think that it's like a bathysphere, but for negative pressure, not positive. Interesting. Oh. 1933, Austrian Communist Party was banned. All right. 1933 as well, during the New Deal, the U.S. Federal Securities Act was signed into law requiring the registration of securities with the Federal Trade Commission. And I am looking for comments. Do I have any comments? Yes, I do. How you doing, 72? Good, sir, Aosabi. That tunnel blows. The Quimbia artifact from South America. Thank you. Yes, that's the airplane thing I was talking about, right? So, what else do we got here? 1933, Martin Heidegger gave his inaugural rectoral address on the self-assertion of the German university, taken by some as supporting the Nazi regime. Rectoral. That does not sound good. 1935, the Supreme Court declared FDR's National Recovery Act unconstitutional. From our other source here, the Supreme Court of the United States, you know, during the New Deal, the Supreme Court of the United States of America declared the National Industry Recovery Act to be unconstitutional in NALA Shetler Poultry Corp. Corporation versus United States 295 U.S. 495. Okay. Moving on up to 1936, the RMS Queen Mary left Southampton for New York on her maiden voyage, and you know now she's over here in Long Beach. I've been on that boat several times, and it's a haunted hotel. You know, they have tours and all that stuff, and I would like to go on a haunted tour on that ship on Halloween. Maybe I might do that this year. We'll see. Definitely have to make a video if I do that. 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco opened to pedestrians. Yep, 1937 in California, the Golden Gate Bridge opened to pedestrian traffic, creating a vital link between San Francisco and Marin County in California. 1940, British and Allied forces began the evacuation of Dunkirk during Operation Dynamo during the Second World War. And once again, I want to bring up that one movie, Dunkirk. You know, good movie. And yeah, here we go. Here's a picture of it right there. That's, I believe, a painting, but look at that. Like, they're getting shelled, they're getting bombed, and they're all lined up, waiting their turn to get on the little rowboats, to get on the ships that are being shelled and bombed and torpedoed. And man, dude, war is hell. 1940 as well, during World War II, in the Le Parlis massacre, 97 and 99 soldiers from a Royal Norfolk Regiment unit were shot after surrendering to German troops. Only 2 survived. Yikes. So I guess that's why there's a 97 and 99 discrepancy. Because one source said 97 and the other source said 99, but I guess one was talking about the deaths versus the ones that shot, because there's a 2 discrepancy there. Moving on up to 1941, Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared a state of emergency after a German U-boat sunk the U.S.-flagged SS Robin Moore. Yes, we have here from the other source, during the Second World War, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaimed a, quote, unlimited national emergency, end quote. And what does Sir 72 here have to say? Remember that time the people walking caused reverberation in the bridge and almost caused it to shake itself to death just from the rhythm of people's footsteps? Yes, that's happened several times. That actually, there was an instance where, and this is why military units are trained to walk out of step, especially when crossing a bridge like that. There was an incident where a military was crossing a bridge and they're marching in step and everything, and because all their rhythm was precise, it just broke the bridge and the whole thing collapsed. But yeah, no, I think you're talking about Galloping Gertie, maybe, because that's happened. Although that bridge was mainly because of all the wind and everything, but yeah, there's a lot of examples of what you just said. A lot of people on the bridge. We talked about a couple dates ago, during the 50th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge, 300,000 people or whatever, were on the bridge at once, and the actual entire span leveled out. So, because of the weight. Incredible. Moving on up to 1941, the German battleship Bismarck was sunk by the British naval force. Yes, we've been talking about this Bismarck for the past couple of days. About after it sunk the HMS Hood, the pride of the British Royal Fleet. I don't know why I can't words today. But yeah, 1941, during World War II, the German battleship Bismarck was sunk in the North Atlantic, killing almost 2,100 men. And it took a hell of a beating, though. How many bombs and torpedoes did they throw at that damn thing? What did you say here? It was on the Golden Gate Bridge, the one I remember, that and one from the wind causing it to buckle. The wind one, it was Galloping Gertie. I know that for a fact. And that's why a lot of architecture and engineering what lessons were learned from that thing, and they have rebuilt that bridge better. There is a bridge, now where that other one once stood. Moving on up to 1942, an attempted assassination of Nazi leader Reinhard Heydrich by a grenade thrown by Czech rebels in Prague during Operation Anthropoid. He died a week later from an infection. Adolf Hitler ordered 10,000 Czechs murdered in revenge. This led in June to the annihilation of Ladies. Yeah. And from our other source here, during World War II in Operation Anthropoid, Reinhard Heinrich was fatally wounded in Prague. He died of his injuries 8 days later. So it wasn't a week later, it was a week and a day. So that's another discrepancy right there. 1950, the Linnanaki amusement park was opened for the first time. And let's see. Here's a photo of the Bismarck getting hit. Absolutely getting its face kicked in. And here's a photo of the amusement park. I think that's a more recent photo. But yeah, and I just wonder, opens for the first time, what happened? Was there an accident, a catastrophe, an outbreak? So if anybody can look that up and let us know in the comment section, that'd be great. Hey, RMG relaunch, how you doing, man? Just want to remind you, I was watching your stream here on Rumble, and I could barely hear any audio. So, while you're watching cartoons and whatnot, and Freakazoid and all that jazz. Moving on up to 1951, Chinese communists forced Dalai Lama to surrender his army to Beijing. And that reminds me of a movie, Kundun. I have got to watch that movie. 1952, European Defense Community forms. Okay. 1955, the Boston Red Sox first baseman Norm Zaukin accumulated 10 RBIs, running bats ins, in a 16-0 win over the Washington Senators. That is a drubbing right there. 1958, maiden flight of the F-4 Phantom II. The first flight of the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II occurred, and this bird is right here. The bird is a word. Yeah. 1960, Baltimore manager Paul Richards devised an oversized catcher's mitt used by the Baltimore Oriole Clint Courtney. And we do have a photo of that as well. This is a massive glove. Look at the size of that thing. That can practically be used by doctors when delivering babies. Push! Push! I got it! Push hard! What is wrong with me? 1962, the Centralia mine fire was ignited in the town's landfill above a coal mine. It is still smoldering to this day and will continue to do so for the next several hundred years. Because it's this vast underground coal mine, and it's getting oxygen from somewhere, but it's not like hellfire, flames burning. No, it's just if you've ever looked at the last several minutes of a campfire or a log in the fireplace or something, you just have those embers and the smolder. That's what it's essentially doing, but it's caused so much damage. Practically the entire town has since long been evacuated. There's all sorts of stuff on YouTube and whatnot about it. I advise checking those out after this video, of course. Yeah, it's incredible. What did Sir 72 here say? With a glove that big, why not just use a mattress or something at that point? Yeah, you have a point there. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should email this photo to Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow. I have a couple of them actually, and his flip flops. Oh, they're somewhere else there in the bathroom. His little sandals. He has good products there. Omni Coalition is not endorsed by MyPillow. Anyway, 1963, Jomo Kenyatta was elected the first Prime Minister of Kenya, and if you think that his name is very similar to Kenya, that's by purpose, because he is the founding father of Kenya, Kenyatta, and that family reigned over that country for quite a while. I'm not sure if that bloodline is still in control or if outside of the family has been made leader by now. My glove, yes, everyone loves MyPillow. Dude, MyPillow is a great product. It really is. 1965, during the Vietnam War, U.S. warships began the first bombardment of National Liberation Front targets within South Vietnam. All right. 365 days later, in 1966, 6 French fighters crashed above Spain, and that's weird. The fighter aircraft, of course. Was there some kind of conflict going on in Europe, in Spain at that time? In 1966, was this a test? Like some kind of just test flight or just a patrol? What happened? How did 6 fighters crash? That's weird. 1967, Australians voted in favour of a constitutional referendum granting the Australian government the power to make laws to benefit Indigenous Australians and count them in the national census. Good on you, chap. 1967 as well, the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier USS John F. Kennedy was launched by Jacqueline Kennedy and her daughter Caroline. I just wonder if that's the inspiration for the song Sweet Caroline. I'm not sure. But yeah, here's a photo of him. Yeah, rest in peace, John F. And, for what it's worth, Godspeed, RFK Jr., making moves, even though he's an environmentalist, he's kind of loony in some aspects. His war on corrupted food is something I support wholeheartedly. So keep it going. 1968, George Halas retired from coaching, finishing with 318 regular season wins and 6 NFL titles. Impressive. Good job, man. You've earned your respite. 1969, Walt Disney World construction began at Bay Lake and Lake Buena Vista in Florida. I've never been there, never will. So. Been to Disneyland quite a few times, though, back when I was a kid. 1971, John Lennon recorded the song Imagine at his Ascot Sound home studio at Tittenhurst Park, England. Imagine all the people. 1971 as well, Pakistani forces massacred over 200 civilians, mostly Bengali Hindus, in the Baghdadi massacre. The Baghdadi massacre. Yikes. And another off of main source 71, the Dahlheimer train disaster, the worst railway incident in West Germany, killed 46 people and injured 25 others near Wuppertal. Yikes. Moving on up to 1975, the worst motor vehicle disaster in the United Kingdom of Great Britain, Scotland, and Ireland. The brakes failed on a bus full of elderly women. This sounds like a plot to a stupid movie. And it plunged 17 feet off the road at Dibbles Bridge. What a name. Yorkshire, killing 33. A similar accident occurred there, killing 11 in 1925. So 50 years later, it strikes again. But yeah, we have here from the other source, Dibbles Bridge coach crash near Grassington in North Yorkshire, England, killed 33 people, becoming the highest ever death toll in a road accident in the United Kingdom. But yikes, a bus full of elderly women. That is just awful. Like, well, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, they were nearing the end of their lives, but it's still, it's still just not cool to have it cut short, I guess. So, 1980, South Korean police ends people's uprising with 2,000 people killed. Jeez, man, what's going on? And we have some more South Korea here. The Gwangju massacre. South Korean airborne and army troops retake the city of Gwangju from civil militias, killing at least 207 people, possibly many more. And that was right here. What has Aosabe, Kimosabe. The French pilots ran out of fuel and bailed. No deaths, 6 crashes. Same year as U.S. refueling tanker collided midair with a U.S. jet over Spain. Bad air that year. Huh. Well, thank you for looking that up, good sir. I appreciate that. So they just ran. How do you run out of fuel? Like, they weren't in combat. It must have been some kind of training or some routine mission. How do you screw that up? Like, I don't get it. And the refueling tanker thing though, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. I mean, these pilots, like, they have to match their speed, match their altitude, and on top of all that, like, if you're flying behind a plane, now you got to calculate, the vacuum behind the plane, the air is going to operate differently on you than on him. There's so many aspects that go into it. They were lost, so no GPS. Okay. It sounds a lot like, Flight 72 that disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle and reappeared in Florida, but then just never was seen again or whatever. Like, so, because there were people on the ground who saw them over Florida, right? From the other instances. Moving on up, 1985, Britain agreed to return Hong Kong to China in 1997. Very bad idea. So, 1986, President Reagan ordered 2 Poseidon-class submarines to be dismantled. That's pretty cool. Slowly reducing our weaponry and whatnot. 1988, the Senate ratified a treaty eliminating medium-range nuclear missiles. What Senate? The U.S. Senate? I presume, but it just says Senate. Like, when talking about history, you got to be specific to what history it is of. Don't put something in with presumable assumptions. 1988, Somaliland War of Independence. The Somali National Movement launched a major offensive against Somali government forces in Hargeisa and Burar, then the second and third largest cities in Somalia. 1994, The Flintstones, live-action movie based on the 1960s cartoon, starring John Goodman as Fred, Rick Moranis as Marnie, and Rosie O'Donnell as Betty. I wonder who played Wilma. But this movie premiered. It's a good movie. I enjoy it. I have it on VHS somewhere. 1994 as well, the final broadcast of TV talk show The Arsenio Hall Show. And Arsenio Hall, I believe, was that one guy who was in Coming to America. No. 1994 as well, Larry King ended his radio show. Rest in peace, Larry King. He was, Skeleton Man, like his so hunched. I can't even mimic it. The man was essentially a Tetris block L piece with his neck. I just couldn't understand his posture. The Senate, from Star. I am the Senate. Unlimited power. 1995, actor Christopher Reeve was paralyzed from the neck down after falling from his horse in a riding competition in Culpeper, Virginia. And I believe he is passed a while ago. Rest in peace, Christopher Reeve, ? Yeah, he did. Oh, wow, a long while ago. 21 years. Wow, it's been that long. Huh, it didn't seem like 21 years to me. Last good late night host. Yeah, at least one of them. So. 1996, during the first Chechen War, Russian President Boris Yeltsin met with the Chechen rebels for the first time and negotiated a ceasefire. Good. 1997, the first all-female of 20 British women, and actually before I continue on, here's a picture of the Flintstones. Here's a picture of Christopher Reeve, and this is what we're talking about right here. So, the first all-female of 20 British women team reached the North Pole. You go, girls! That's awesome. I mean, I haven't reached the North Pole, so like, hey, they're a lot more achieved than I am. That's for sure. 1998 Oklahoma City bombing. Michael Fortier was sentenced to 12 years in prison and fined $200,000 for failing to warn authorities about the plot to bomb Oklahoma City. Wow. Well, I mean, I guess that could be technically obstruction of justice. So, 1999, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia indicted Slobodan Milosevic and 4 others for war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Kosovo. Yep. Like, I've come across the footage from his trial while trying to find the footage of a more recent incident in which that guy drank the poison, after being convicted. 1999, the Space Shuttle Discovery was launched on STS-96, the first shuttle mission to dock with the International Space Station. Really cool. Good stuff. Science. 2001, members of Abu Sayyaf, an Islamist separatist group, seized 20 hostages from an affluent island resort on Palawan in the Philippines. The hostage crisis would not be resolved until June of 2002. So over a whole year. That's rough. Moving on up to 2005, DreamWorks released computer-animated film Madagascar. They like to move it, with voices by Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, David Schwimmer, and Jada Pinkett Smith. And let's not forget Polka Dot Rainbow Afro. So, 2006, Pan's Labyrinth, fantasy film of the Spanish Civil War, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, debuted at Cannes Film Festival. That's another movie I have to see. Although I have seen the what is he called, the skinny man or whatever, like with the eyes in his palms, like that's a horrifying scene right there. 2006, an earthquake struck Java in Indonesia at 5:53 and 58 seconds anti-meridian in the morning local time, or 22:53:58 UTC in May 26. Devastating battle in the city of Yogyakarta, killing over 6,600 people. From the other source here, the 6.4 MW Yogyakarta earthquake shook central Java with an MSK intensity of 7, damaging, leaving more than 5,700 dead and 37,000 injured. So we have a discrepancy here, 5,700 or 6,600. That's a 900-person discrepancy. 900 people are just up there in limbo. Like, are they dead? Are they not? Schrodinger's victims. Come on, I need answers. 2009, South Africa entered the global recession, the first recession for South Africa in 17 years. Yeah, and South Africa ain't doing too hot right now. 2012, a NATO, a North Atlantic Treaty Organization, airstrike killed a family of 8, including 6 children, in Afghanistan. Yikes. Collateral damage is a thing of war, unfortunately. So, 2013, the largest flag ever made at 5 tons with 44 miles of thread was unveiled in Romania. Good gibbly gawk. What the heck is the size of this flag? Oh my god. Like, that is not flowers. That is all fabric. Holy cats. That is beyond words. The gargantuan. That's a big flag. Now we just got to find a pole to put that on. So, give me a 10-mile long pole. 2016, Barack Hussein Obama became the first president of the United States of America to visit Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park and meet Hibakusha. Is that a person or is that a group? Aosabi, you're my Japanese man, or guy knowing whatever. Like what is a Hibakusha? No. Hibakusha. Hibakusha. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't think you're supposed to let that touch the ground, but good luck with that. Yeah, you're technically not supposed to let flags touch the ground, but yeah, what are you going to do with that thing? 5 tons! 44 miles of fabric. So, 2017, in Bangalore, India, white puffy toxic foam began spilling out of Varthur Lake onto the city streets. That seems like a catastrophe right there. You know what? Let me look this up here really quick. Let me see if there's that is the wrong button. Where'd my Where'd my thing go? There we go. All right. I want to see what this looks like. Huh. Well, that just looks like steam. I don't think I'm going to be... Oh, well, that looks like foamy substances right there. But this is just something else talking about antibiotics and whatnot. But that's disgusting. What else do we got here? 2020, 2019, world's rivers widely contaminated. Oh, well, yeah, it did give me what I was looking for. That was the wrong one. So here, hold on a second. Give me a minute. I'm stupid. So, okay, so here's the actual photos of the Bangalore stuff. Wow, it is blowing in the wind and it's in the air, and don't breathe. Don't touch the water. Like, what do you do with that? Like, that is terrifying. It's like you're getting attacked by cotton candy. Yikes. But yeah, 2019, world's rivers widely contaminated with antibiotics according to a new global study of 711 sites. And that's what I pulled up earlier because I'm stupid and I copy-pasted the wrong article. Hold on a second. I think... oh, it's that guy! Yeah, the guy who suffered from the radiation, that guy who saw both bombs, he would be a double hibakusa. Okay, so a hibakusa is a survivor. And you're talking about that one guy who lived in Hiroshima. No, he worked in Hiroshima, or he lived in Hiroshima. He lived in one and he worked in the other. Like he was in Hiroshima when that went off, and he took the train back to his hometown of Nagasaki, and I think that's where he actually worked, because as the story goes, he was talking to his boss, and his boss couldn't believe it. And then right at that happened, like something out of a movie, like what do you mean one bomb destroyed a whole city? Oh, right there, boom, and it happened again in Nagasaki. Like, what are the chances? I mean, one in a heptabillion or something. Like, okay, but thank you. Hibakusa. Hibakusa? Am I pronouncing that right? Probably not. Like, due to either was the worst luck or the best luck, depending on your optimism and perception. Yeah, why not both? He's the luckiest, unluckiest son of a gun, ever to exist in the history of our time. Or of all time, potentially. Anyway, moving on up to 2021. Did I miss this one? Yeah, I did miss this one. 2020, actually, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Hong Kong no longer has autonomy from China, does not merit special trade relationship, in note to Congress. Yeah, it's now fully, completely absorbed by the CCP and needs to be treated as such. 2021, Friends reunion screened 17 years after the TV sitcom ended. Okay, never saw it. It's very culturally, big, but I don't know. 2021, I got to catch up on the history over here. 2021, English playwright William Shakespeare, oh god, this is hilarious, reported to have died after receiving the Kung Flu poke by Argentine news channel 26. Case of mistaken identity. The bard died in 1616. How you screw that up? How? Why? What the hell is wrong with people? Like, oh my god. This reminds, I talked to a doctor, it was some guy who worked in the ER or something, and some guy had come in. He had been hit by a truck. Unfortunately, he did not make it. So rest in peace, that guy. But they wrote him down as death by COVID. He got hit by a truck, and then now you're saying that William Shakespeare got karate chopped by the Kung Flu. Like, stupid agenda bullshit. Oh my god. What is Aosabe saying here? Same way that the U.S. is paying Social Security on people older than our nation. Yeah, I've heard about that. It's part of the whole Doge thing and all that stuff. They're finding all these people who are still getting Social Security benefits despite having died, recently, long ago. Are there some examples of people who died in the friggin' 1800s? There's a couple examples of 100-year-old. People have been dead for 100 years and they're still cashing out. somehow. Moving on up to 2021, French President Emmanuel Macron recognized France's role in the 1994 Rwandan genocide after a meeting with Rwandan President Paul Kagame in Kigali, Rwanda. Okay. In 2022, before I read that, I'm going to read this. All for those dollars for every coof patent they have in a bed. Patient. Even more money if they die from it. Let that sink in. Jeez, yeah, man, like, that's scary. But yeah, last but not least, 2022 Top Gun Maverick, the sequel starring Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, and Jennifer Connelly, was released 36 years after the original film. That was a sequel, long in the tooth right there. But that shall be it for us today. Please check the underbar, description below for any links that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis. Things uncovered, revelations made, inaccuracies pointed out, truths portrayed, all that stuff. Check our sources. Educate yourself, please. For your dose of past events daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander, and you are you. I want to give a special shout-out. Thank you very much, A.O. Sabi72, for coming in and being some commentary. RMG Relaunch, I am glad that you're chilling. I'm going to get back to watching your stream if you're still streaming, and same with you, good sir 72. But yeah, until you catch us next time, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!